Hi, so this is the initial review of my Lowa Zephyr 8 inches grey boots. Now Lowa, as many of you would already be aware, is a German company which makes footwear for the forces, and hence the name Lowa Z8 Forces, and it also makes footwear for the outdoors, but primarily it makes footwear for the forces only. They are used by armies around the world and also by law enforcement units. Front profile, side profile, rear, again side, and front profile. So this is the Mark II version of the boot. The Mark I version or the previous version was very similar to this boot, but it did not come in grey color. So this grey color is a new addition with the new version. The sole is very flattish at the base, so it should have decent grip on flat surfaces also, whereas it also does have lugs in zigzag pattern, so it should have decent grip in the outdoors also. The sole does feel soft to the touch, almost feels sticky, probably because they're new. So this black portion at the base is all rubber. It comes slightly high up behind and also up front. Then this entire grey portion is polyurethane. So it has a polyurethane midsole and a rubber outsole. Now polyurethane, as many of you would know, gives a slight bounce or the cushioning to the boot. Now polyurethane and EVA are the two kind of midsoles that are used in boots, but generally now I'm finding that more and more boots are going towards polyurethane. Now polyurethane does have a firm feel underfoot and is not uncomfortable, but only problem is that they do tend to fall off after a year or two, especially depending on the date of manufacturing of the boots. A lot of people are saying that they had boots which fell off very fast. That is probably because if the polyurethane boots or boots with polyurethane soles are manufactured and kept for long durations and you buy an old stock, you will find that they too tend to shed off. Even if you buy them when they are new and you do not use them for longer durations, or you keep them in climates which are very humid, you will find that they are prone to disintegration. So EVA is better in that aspect. However, these days again you will find that a lot of good manufacturers are going with polyurethane soles. I think Lowa makes only polyurethane sole boots for themselves. You will find that the outsole does have Lowa branding. This is not a Vibram sole, so this is proprietary of Lowa themselves. It also says X-Track military. I don't know what that means. It probably just wants to show that this is a military boot. The rear also has aggressive lugs. This is similar to how the old boot also used to be. The midsole also you will find that has these patterns or designs coming up onto the upper, and so this prevents separation from the upper. Unlike other boots, you will find in many low quality boots that the upper starts to separate from the soles. In lower boots, I have found that that is not the case. The upper does not separate from the lowers. The lowers may disintegrate, but there will be no separation. Coming up, this is a suede leather and decent quality. It feels thick to the touch. And then there are synthetic inlays in between the leather. This is also synthetic. The tongue is all synthetic. It has a small piece of leather in the top. Apart from that, this is all synthetic. So the front is all synthetic. The sides are all leather. It is okay because the sides are the ones that provide strength to the boot. And in other pairs of Lowas that I've used, I found that even after so much of stitching, the uppers do not tend to start tearing from the threads, or there is no separation. They do hold up very well, so there is no problem here. It does have some Gore-Tex branding on the side, and it does have Gore-Tex lining on the inside. So this gray lining is all Gore-Tex. Gore-Tex, many of you would already be aware, is a proprietary lining, again like Vibram, which is sold to boot manufacturers and also to clothing brands, mostly in jackets and in outdoor trousers also at times, where Gore-Tex is actually a lining which prevents water from going inside the boot. So when this boot gets wet, the outer will actually take in some water, but the lining on the inside will prevent the water from coming in contact with your socks and then your feet. The laces are all synthetic. They have synthetic loops on the side. Now this clip on the side is a new addition from the previous model. The previous model did not have this clip. This clip allows for variable tensioning in your lacing, so you can have the lower tighter, and then after tightening it, if you press the clip down, then this lace will not shift from here and this tension will remain in this portion, and then the upper can be slightly loose. The upper has loops for putting the laces through, so you can have slightly loose uppers, and whereas this part which holds on to your feet actually can be tighter, which is a good addition. But I find these kind of laces to be cumbersome. They are useful in certain other boots, but with Lowa boots I found that as it is, the lacing in the previous model, even without this, was quite good. If you just pull on it, it does cinch your forefoot pretty well. So here it's a good addition, but it does become cumbersome after a point, because when you want to loosen your laces or you want to tighten them, then every time you have to fiddle with these, because the moment your laces pull, the moment your laces start pulling, see, the clip will automatically shut down. So it is counterintuitive to that extent, but it does make sense if you want to cinch this portion. In other boots it makes sense. In this specific design, not required. It was already doing pretty well, but it's a value addition nonetheless. It's got some Lowa branding embossed on the side. It's got a synthetic behind, because this is again where flexion happens. It's got a loop, and similarly on the other side also. So very smart looking boot. Also, after having worn and owned these boots for quite some time, I now find that there are a lot of reproductions or copies coming into the market, but they do not have the same quality, and the formation of the boot or the structure of the boot is not as good as the original ones. In fact, just from a first look, I can make out the fakes or differentiate the fakes from the originals. I think they need to do a better job. I am not against copies, because copies do come at a better price point, and so I think they have their own space, but I think they have to do a much better job to match up to the originals. So this is the Lowa Z8 grey color. The grey color is more apt for civilian use also, and with some polish I'm sure it will match up to military standards also. Am I happy with these boots? Yes, I've had many pairs before, and I'm happy with these also. That's why I bought them. I just quickly wanted to show you, because these are polyurethane formed. You will find that there are bubbles. I don't know if it can be seen in the camera or not, but there are bubbles in the polyurethane sole. So there are bubbles here also in the sole. But however, in all the other boots that I've worn before also, there were these bubbles, but they do not seem to affect the durability of the boot. Thank you.